Hi, we're going to be talking about how to create implied texture in Photopea. So I'm going to start off here with a new document. So you go to File, New, and I named this texture, and I typed in 8.5 by 11 for my dimensions. Okay, so that's inches, not pixels. And then make sure down here where it says DPI that you type in 300. So then I hit create, and this is what I'm starting off with. So implied texture in art is texture that looks like you could feel it and touch it, and it would feel bumpy or whatever the case may be. But it's of course it's not. It's flat. It's just like a picture of fur is implied texture. Actual fur is actual texture. Okay, so we're creating some implied texture and just making our backgrounds a little more interesting for the self-portrait collage that you're about to do. So I'm going to take this white background here, and I'm going to start off by selecting the color picker so that I can put down some kind of color in the background here. So let's say I'll start off with that. Use my bucket tool and just drop some color in here. So now I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to pick another color. Not sure what. Maybe I'll use that. Okay. And I'm going to go in and start using a brush. So the brushes are here, different brush options. Now, I don't have as many brush options as I would have in Photoshop, but there are a couple of them that kind of resemble like a splattery brush. For some reason, they're all really small right now. I'm not sure why. Okay, that's a little splattery. I think that's about as large as this brush will get. So I can check the opacity. I'm going to put the blend mode at normal, and flow, smoothness. Maybe I'll up this a little bit. Okay. So it's a little bit hard to see this green here. Oh, there you go. It's kind of slow working in Photopea. There's a little bit of a lag with it. Okay, so I can just kind of bounce around, making some different markings on here. And I can go up to, after I have something down there, I can go up to layer style. Maybe I can kind of play around with that. That makes it look a little weird. I'm not entirely sure I like that, but I guess just for the sake of demo here, we'll just say okay. I can also go up to filter, and I can play around with some different filters on this. I'm not sure what clouds is going to do. Whoa, that's really different. I didn't exactly want that. Okay, maybe oil paint. I don't know. A lot of using the filters is just kind of playing around and seeing what you like. Okay, a little bit of a difference. I can also play around with the blending modes, which are up here when you're using the brush, and also on layers here. This is my layer blending mode, and I can change this and try out some different effects and things. Color dodge difference. Oh, that's really dark. Lighten, just all kinds of things that you could do. Okay, so I still would not call this finished. So what I'm going to do, I would go back over to my brushes and see if we could play around a little bit more to give this a little more depth. So here's another sort of splatter brush. We're going to need to pick a different color here. Maybe we'll use something darker. Okay. And we'll go back. Kind of popping some different splattery effects. That one's dragged more than I wanted it to. Okay. So this is not going as fast as I would like to, but okay. All right, so working on this in Photopea, and then again, I can try out some different blending modes to kind of play with this, mix it up. Ooh, I really don't like that one. And let's see, screen, I don't know. Just kind of playing around with that. Okay, dissolve, that one's a little crazy. Again, going into the different layer styles. Kind of playing around with that, and filters. That is crazy, guys. Look at that. Wow. Gradient. Wow, that is looking pretty crazy. Okay, so you can continue. So what you would be doing is working with adding, again, using different brushes, particularly splatter brushes are good for adding more that textured kind of look, and different filters and blend modes and things like that, trying to take this out of being just a flat color document. You can also start off with a photo, which is what I have here, and so I can start off with that. I'm going to put another layer here to start adding the paint effects onto. You would basically do the same thing you just did, except the difference would be that you would be doing this with a photograph. So you would need to consider first what do you want to have as your background, kind of thinking about what effects you want. There are a lot of examples of backgrounds that I shared with you in that PowerPoint. Some people might think, I want a city skyline, I want a field, I play sports, I want to put my head inside of a monitor, like all these kinds of things you would have to think of first, thinking of photographs that you would want to use as a background. So I added a little bit of that texture there, then I could add another layer. But you would have to do some planning to think about what kind of background you're going to want here. Let's see, maybe I'll put in some kind of a greenish color. Okay. I would recommend that you do the thinking and planning before you start creating this texture page. Okay. So I have this green that I'm putting in, and it's a little harder to see, but that's okay because subtlety is a good thing, I think. And then again, I could play around with these different modes. So, if I wanted it darker, multiply, lighten, whatever the different mode I might want. I kind of like the effect better in Photopea if you're using an actual photograph. I think it's going to look maybe a little more sophisticated than just flat out painted background. But, it's up to you and kind of what your final vision is. But this is what you will be doing. You'll be adding this sort of implied texture effects using layer styles, using filters, and using blend modes for the paint of things that you're brushing on, using different kinds of brushes. So blend modes are up, you can adjust that here. As I said, you can also do that over here in the layers palette, right here. So that is what you're working with, trying to create your implied texture background for your collage. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.